Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night from when you're watching this video. It's John with yet another video. In today's video, I show you how you can be able to create this cool admin dashboard using TailwindCss, React Js, and Framemotion. At this specific juncture, I would like to take you around this specific dashboard so that you have an understanding and a feeling of what we'll be creating. First things first, if I refresh this specific project, you're going to see that we have that animation. The animation is applied to this specific component here, this specific component here, and this specific component here, and that is the frame motion. So it's just the opacity that is changing, and this is happening component by component, so we're just seeing them fade in. So to get started, we have this specific sidebar here. We just have the icons, and when you hover over them, there's the line that appears there and the colors changes to pink. Then we have this navigation bar on top here that stretches from this specific point to the end. Having the dashboard, the search bar, the profile image there, and these two icons which have that hovering effect. At the middle here, we have this specific section here, which of course you're going to use it to display your analytics. So we're having the total income, the expenses, the bonuses in what we can call a circular progress bar. Below that, we are having this line chart or graph. This is from React charts. We are having, or we are showcasing expenses and income, and I can be able to hide and show so that I can focus on a specific one. Say for example, I would like to focus on the expenses. I can click on the income, and you can see how that is being displayed. I can also hide both of them, or just show the income only, or both of them. You're also going to notice that there is the animation when we are displaying each and every line. Well, below that, we're having these two cards. Basically, the component contains the investment, the value, and the percentage. On the right hand side here, we're having these cards that shows the balance in this special kind of a design here. And then we're having the recent transactions which are being displayed in some sort of a list, and then we're having that hovering effect. This specific dashboard is responsive if I push it to a specific breakpoint. So let's start with mobile, because when you're working with TailwindCss is usually mobile first. So at this specific point, you're going to realize that this specific chart makes this thing to be off a little bit, but don't mind, because when you refresh that, that's going to be fixed automatically. So you can be able to see that everything now is responding to that specific size. And when we continue to expose it to different breakpoints, that's how everything is going to align itself. So I do hope that this is something that interests you and you would like to learn, and to be in a position to learn everything. I would recommend that you watch up until the very end. First things first, we will need to install everything that we are going to require for this project. The first thing that we need to install is TailwindCss. This will help us to style the project. Second is the React icons. This will be from React icons, and these will supply us with the icons that we need for the project. And for the charts, we are going to install React charts. this will be from React Js. We'll also be requiring to install the progress bar. This will help us to have the circular progress bar. And finally, for animations, we'll need to install motion from Framer Motion. So let's get started, and we're just going to get started by installing Tailwind Css with Vite. So let's get this started. Well, now open your favorite browser and search for TailwindCss.com. Once you're there, head on to Docs. This will take you to Tailwind CSS documentation, and here, as you can see, the first thing that we need to do is to do the installation. And because we are using a framework, we're going to head on to the framework guides. So I'm just going to click on framework guides. Here I see a list of the frameworks supported by Tailwind CSS. Of course, it's not a must that you use Tailwind CSS. It's only that it is the framework that I used for this project. So if you are using CSS, or if you like to use CSS to do your styling, then you can skip this specific step. So for us, we are going to install Tailwind CSS with Vite. So we're going to select the specific option here. Vite is the fast and modern development server and build tool. So hit on that, and then you'll see the installation once again. And here, as you can see, we are installing Tailwind CSS with Vite. So setting up Tailwind CSS in a Vite project, and we'll be doing that using React. So we have at least 6 steps that we need to go through so that we can have Tailwind CSS successfully installed using Vite. For beginners, we'll create our project, and we are going to do that using the most common approach, which is create Vite. So to be able to do that, we need to open the terminal. As you can see, everything here will be happening in a terminal. That's for the installation. So I'm just going to copy this, but you might require to type it yourself so that way you get used to it and you learn from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on to the desktop. This is the easiest place that I can be able to create this. Of course, you can be able to create it in whatever location you want. So I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to open the desktop in the terminal. So that should open the CMD. I'm using PowerShell. In your case, you might just see CMD, but it's all the same. So here, I'm just going to come and grab this line of code, npm create Vite at latest. This ensures that I'm installing the latest version. So I'm going to copy that and then head on back to my terminal, and here I will paste that. And at the end there, I'm going to have the name of the project, and I'm going to call it, let me just call it financial app. Then I will hit enter. Well, that is created successfully. And so all that we now need to do is to give it a package name, and it's very easy because you just type what they have here. And at this specific step, you're required to select the framework that you'll be using. In our case, we'll be using React, so we just use the navigation arrows to point to React, and then after that we hit enter. So here we are required to select the variant, and again we're going to go with JavaScript. So move with arrows, point to JavaScript, and then hit enter. So that has run successfully, and all that we now need to do is to cd the financial app, so that we ensure that we are in that specific project folder. Alright, so now we are in the project folder, and now at this specific step, what I would like to do is to open the IDE that we'll be using for this project, which is Visual Studio Code. You can use any other text editor, but I recommend Visual Studio Code. So to open this project with Visual Studio Code, I'm going to type code, and then space, and then space, and then a period, code space period, and hit enter. This is going to open this specific project with Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code opens successfully, and you can be able to see here in the Explorer we have the subfolders that we have created already. This is by just running the npm create Vite at latest, and so we have been provided with all these here. We're going to come back to this later, but for now we need to continue with the process of installation so that we can have everything that we need installed. So I'm going to open the terminal that comes with Visual Studio Code. To be able to do that, I'm going to click on these three dots here, then head on to terminal, and then new terminal. You can also use the shortcut Ctrl plus Shift plus disable if you're using Windows. So click on that, and you can see the terminal opens here, and I'm still using PowerShell, so if you're using CMD, things might look a little bit different. So now at this specific stage, now what we need to do is to install Tailwind CSS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this line of code that's going to help me to install Tailwind, which I'm going to use for styling. So I'll paste that line of code that I've copied and then hit enter. As that is learning, we can just close the Explorer here so that we can create some loop. This will take a minute or two, so let's just give it its time to finish. Well, that was installed successfully, so we can proceed on with the next thing. So the next thing that we need to do is to install tailwind.config.js. This is a file that we are going to use to do some customization, but that will come in later. So first of all, let's have this installed. So I'm just going to grab this, and I'm going to have it pasted in my terminal once again. This should be a little bit quick. So that was installed successfully, and if we can just check that out, this is the file that we have just installed. It's the tailwind.config.js. Will be coming to it in a second. So the third step is to configure our template paths. So this way we add the paths to all of our template files in our tailwind.config.js. And because we are using Tailwind CSS, and when using Tailwind CSS, basically you're just going to have the HTML markup rather, and then you're going to have some classes within that markup. So you need to tell Tailwind CSS where to get this specific markup, and how you do that is by using the tailwind.config.js. So as you can see in this specific area here, the markup that we'll be using will be the JSX. If you're using HTML, of course you'll have HTML here. Using TypeScript, of course you're going to have that over here. So we're just going to have all this, even if we just be using this extension here. So to make things easy for us, I'm just going to grab everything here, head on back to the IDE. I'm going to hide this for now, and then open the tailwind.config.js. It's already open here for me, and I'm going to get rid of everything that we have here for now. and paste what we have copied. So we'll be coming back to this one more time, but for now let's just have it closed. So we have already configured the template paths, and now Tailwind will be able to know where to get the classes for styling. So now the next thing that we need to do is to add the Tailwind directives to our CSS, and we add the Tailwind directives for each of the Tailwind's layer to our this specific path, that is the index.css. So we're going to grab these three Tailwind CSS directives, head on back to our IDE, and then we are going to open the index.css. This file is found within the src index.css, and by default you're going to see some CSS here. This of course what usually styles the basic component or the default component that you're going to see when you're using React. We're not going to use that, so we are going to get rid of it. So I'm going to delete everything, and I'm just going to have the three Tailwind directives. We are going to come back to that again in a second, but for now let's just close it so we can continue with the installation process. So the last step is to start using Tailwind in our project. So basically all that I'm going to do, first of all, we have skipped this step. We're going to come back to it. So let's first of all skip to step number 6. We copy these specific lines of code, head on back to the IDE, and then we are going to open the app.jsx. There will be the code that will be there by default, but I would like you to just get rid of it. And inside here you can just type RA. So this will help us to have the basic React application. So there you go. And then now inside here, let me just get back here. Instead of having everything, we can just copy this h1 element, and here in the IDE we have it inside this specific container. So now you can see that. So basically this is the basic application that we have. We just have the word hello world. So now is the time to run our project, and all that we can do is to get to the terminal and then type npm run diff, hit enter, and give it some time. So that lands successfully, and we are provided with a local link here. All we can do is to hover over it and then click on follow link. And as you can see, we can now be able to see the word hello world. That means we have been able to successfully install TailwindCss with Vite. So we can just test it a little bit. So get back to the app here, and maybe just change the color. So maybe we can say text blue 500. So when we get back here, we should see that changing like that. So Tailwind is working successfully. So now the next thing that we are going to install is the React icons. Well, that is working fine there. So the next thing that I would like us to install is the progress bar. So we're going to head on back to the browser. Here I want to go with a circular progress bar, so with React, and here you have some few options. You can even use the horizon UI, but because we are using React, let's just use the React circular progress bar, which is the link that we have here. So just click on that. I'll be providing all these links in the description below, just in case you're going to use them. So this is the documentation, just shows you how you should get started with this. So because we are doing the installation, we're going to go to this specific section, the installation section, and we can be able to install this using yarn, or we can also use npm, and for our case we'll be using npm. So I'm just going to grab that and have it here. I think I've closed that, so let me have it one more time. So this should be just pasted there and hit enter, and then just give it some time to do its stuff there. That's installed successfully, so we're going to get back to that when we'll be working on the progress bar. So we just needed to install that so we can be able to use it later. So the next thing that we are going to install is the React icons. So these will help us to have some beautiful icons in our project. So again, I go to Google here, then I'm going to look for React JS icons. So here you go. So I'm going to go with this again, so React icons, and again we'll be installing the React icons using npm. So here we are on the documentation, just being shown how we should get started with this. And again, we can be able to do the installation using yarn, or we can be able to use the npm. So I'm just going to grab that, copy it, and I'll get to Visual Studio again here, and I don't know why I'm closing this. So here we should just copy what we have, or paste what we have copied, and again give it some time to install that. Again, we are going to come back to that when we'll be working on the icons. Again, that is installed successfully, so we are going to get to that. Of course, now when we are working on the project, everywhere we need an icon, we just be putting it from React icons. So I'll be showing you how you can be able to do that. So now the React icons are installed. The next thing that we are going to install is the framer motion. This will be for our animations that we're going to do at the very tail end of this specific project. So again, we get to the browser here, and I'm going to again get to Google over here, and I'm going to look for framer motion. So framer motion, and I think I should go with let's see if I can should go with the first one here. Here we have a get started. Let me see, because I think we should do it from, I think I did it from the React icons. Should be here, framer motion, sorry, framer motion. I almost forgot this one. So get started for free. Yeah, and then again we have the get started, a quick start, and install framer motion via your package manager. So we're just going to use the npm, and again I'm just going to show you how we can be able to have these animations, or how we can be able to use the framer motion just briefly. So we get to our app here, and then we're just going to learn that one more time. So again, I just paste that, and as usual, just give it time to install that. And that is installed successfully. And now the last thing that we are going to install is the React charts. So again, for that, just like coming back here, and I'm just going to look for React charts, ReactJs is actually ReactJs, this one here. So just pick that, and then we are going to look for the installation. This is via npm, and I'm just again going to grab this over here and then head on back here and paste it. So as usual, just give it time to do the installation. Well, that is installed successfully, and it closes that section of installation. So we now move on to working on the project. So the first thing that I would like to do is to create all the components that we are going to require for this specific project. And so for that, I head to the SRC here, and I'm just going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call these components, and within the components I'm going to create some few folders, of course, that are going to have the components that I'm going to need. So the first one will be a main, and then within the main I'm going to now create the file, so main.jsx. Then after that, again, I get to the components, and I'm going to create the sidebar. So sidebar again there, and then of course I now need to create the file. So again, inside the sidebar folder I have the sidebar.jsx, and then let me just be closing them so that I don't get confused. So back to the components, I create another one, so this will be the navbar folder, and within that I'm creating the navbar.jsx. So have that closed, and then we're also going to have the chat. So again, sorry, this one should not be there, so I need to get rid of it, if that will allow me to. Nice. So we go to again to components, and then here I'm just going to talk about chats, and as usual you're going to have the chat dot JSX, and those are the components that we are going to require for this specific project. And so the other thing that we're going to do is to head on to tailwind.config.js, and this reminds me that we just close this so that we can focus on this specific file, the tailwind.config.js. So here I'll need to have the colors that we're going to have, plus also we're going to use a custom theme, and that's Lato. So that is one of the things that I think I had forgotten to have it installed. So I need to get to the Google Fonts, so Google Fonts, because we need to have that Google font, so that Lato font style. So here I am in Google fonts, and I'm just going to search for Lato, and here you go. So let me just say remove here so that I can say get the font, and then here I'm going to say get the code, if I'm not wrong, because these things have changed a little bit. So we're going to use the import, so I'm just going to grab that, and I'm going to grab this without the style. I'm going to grab all of this, leaving out the style, so copy that, and I'm going to head on back to my text editor, and I'm going to get to the index.css. So here, and just below the Tailwind directives, I'm going to copy that, Okay, so we have that ready there. So now we need to get back to the tailwind.config.js, and now what we need to do is to extend that. So I'm going to go to the theme, and just below the extend, or rather within extend inside here, I'm just going to come and talk about font family. So I'll have a colon, then the curly brackets within which I'm going to have the name of the font. I think you can have anything here, so long as now inside here, without forgetting the colon, so that inside here now you can have the font. So that should be in the first letter should be caps, and then after that here you have to talk about the sans serif. Again, this one also should be in quote, so sans serif. Yeah, so don't forget the comma there, and also here. So now we have that font being ready. We can just use it now anywhere we want. Like, it will be across the whole project, of course, so that will come automatically. Now the next thing that we need to do is to have the custom colors that we need for this specific project. So I'm just going to go below here, below the font family, and here I'm going to have colors, and here I'm going to talk about transparent will be equal to transparent, comma, and then we talk about current, and here we should say current color, color, and now here we're going to have the specific colors. Like if it is white, then we're going to have the code for this. So we put single quotes and then FFF, so that will be white, and then we're going to have pink, so pink, and again when it comes to pink, this will be the code for that. So again, single quotes, then we're going to have this color, so 59769D. We're also going to have the dark color, so this mostly will be for the background. So again, this should be 71821. This one should not be a $sign, sorry, it should be hashtag. So after that, we're also going to have some color that will be in between dark and light. So I'm going to call it mid dark, and this should be the color. So again, hashtag, and 21223. How many tools should we have? 3 tools, and this should be D. Okay, and then finally we're going to have the purple color. So again, when it comes to the purple color, this is the code. So 96A. So that should be it, and again the comma there, and that's it. So maybe we can test that. So let's get to the main here. So sorry, not that one, should be the one that we have created. Or rather, let's just open the app.jsx, because that's where we have at least some text that we can work on. And now this one, instead of being blue, we can try to talk about dark. You can see it there. So let's see, getting back to our project here. and I think we need to run it one more time because we have changed a few things. So let me close that and run it again. So we come to the terminal here, npm run diff, and we can be able to see that color there. Let's try one that will be a bit that is pink. Maybe we'll be able to see it properly. Yeah, there you go. And then we can also try the purple. Yeah, so you see the preview there, and there you go. So everything is working fine, so I can get rid of that. So while we are here, we're going to structure, give this project the structure that's going to follow. So that is the next thing that we are going to work with here. So let me get rid of this h1, and then I'm going to style this main container. So I talk about the class name, and everything here should flex, and I'm also going to have the BG being dark. For the height, it's going to be haze screen, so that will take the size of the screen, so haze screen, and for the text we're going to have it being white. Then here we are going to have our sidebar. So let's style this sidebar here. So for the sidebar, it's going to take a width of 10%. That is on a mobile, but on large screens we should have it taking a width of 5%. So 5%, and that's it. So we can now, we're going to have the specific sidebar there, but let's continue with the rest. We're going to get back to that. So here we're going to have the navbar. So again we style this. So this by default, by default here things should flex in a column. So flex col, and the width it should be full, but on large screens we are changing this to 95%. So 95%. So inside there we're going to have the navbar, and still within this specific container we are going to have the main. So again we're going to have the main there, and let's style this main. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about class name, and for this I'm only going to give it one class, and that is overflow auto. So this will make the middle section of this specific project to be scrollable, or the rest are fixed. So just this class makes that to happen, because we have given it a height of a screen. So anything that is off the screen, that's off the screen, then it is hidden, and then for us to be able to show it, we should have a scroll bar just similar to this that we can use to scroll. So it's similar to, in fact, what is happening here. So this part is fixed, this part is fixed, this part is fixed, and we are only scrolling this part here. So this is made possible by this height and this auto, or that overflow auto. So let's import all those components there, so we can be able to have them below there. So the first one that we're going to import is the navbar. This will be coming from the components, and here we are having the navbar folder. We should have the navbar, So after that, now we can also import the sidebar. So sidebar, this one should be from, again, components, and then here we have the sidebar and the sidebar there, and then finally we are going to import a main. These again coming from our components, and here we should have the main. Alright, so we can now have them below here one by one. So starting with the navbar, so we just have it there, and let me just copy this. I'm going to have these coming here. Let me have it with a div, so div, and I'm going to change this to, oh, we made a mistake. This one should be sidebar instead, so sidebar. So this should be navbar, and the one that is out of flowing should be the main, so main. So now you can see they are good. So we have them there. So now we can get to main here, not this one in fact. Let me close everything here except the app, and we can get to the sidebar. Open the sidebar, and here we can type RA. So we're using this snippet. It's called the React snippet. You can get it from the extension, so that is the RAFC. So once you type that and hit enter, you're going to have your app there. So here we can call this sidebar. So we're going to get to that, but let's also work on the navbar. So again, LA, and here we can just call it navbar. And finally we have the main, so here RA, and then we can talk about main. So now that we have all that imported here, so starting with the sidebar, the nav, and the main, we have them imported, then it means we can be able to see them on the browser, all of them in one place. So yeah, there you go, the dark background, and now here we have our sidebar, then you have our navbar, and we have the main. So everything is structured the way we expect. So we're going to start with the sidebar. So let's get back to the text editor here, and I'm going to open the sidebar, and I'm just going to get rid of the main. So just a minute. So I'm getting rid of that, and let's first of all style this. So class name, so the first thing is to have this flexing in a call. We are giving it a height of full. We want it to justify allowed, so that the space in between the items is equal, and these items should be at the center. So that should be it for the main container. So now we can start working on the side nav or the items here. So now inside here we can start working on the links, and we need to style this again here, items flexing in a column. So flex call, and we should have the text being to XL. We are going to center the items, so we say items center. The width is going to be full. When it comes to the height, we're going to give it a custom height, and that should be 70%, and we are going to have these items being justified to the very end, so they will be moved to the end. So we say the gap should be 8. So that should be 8. So now inside that specific container that we have just styled, now we are going to have the specific icon. So for that we are going to create another container. So container, so inside this container we are having the items flexing. This should be aligned at the center, so justify center. So this will ensure that they are aligned at the center on the X and the Y axis on a width of full. And when we hover, we want to have, before we have the hover, let's first of all have the icon, and then we are going to have the specific hovering effect. So so first of all, let's just have the icon. So the icon will be coming in here, but we need to be able to import that. So what I'm going to do, we are going to get to React icons. This time around we don't want to install, so React JS icons. To go with so the first one, yeah, we're going to go with the first one, and we would also have installed it from here. So this is another place that you can also be able to do the installation. You have the standard, and we have these, they're calling it the Metal or GS, or that is by GS, etc. So we have already installed that, but if it doesn't work, then we can try this. I'll be using the font Awesome 6 fonts. So here I just need to search the icon that I need, and just give me a minute. So here we search for the home icon, so I need to hit enter, and then let me say I should be getting a beautiful one for you guys. So just quick, I think we should go with oh, I lost it. Let me go with this one. So I'm just going to click on that, and it's going to open the codes that I need. You can be able to switch to whatever one that you want here. I'm just going to go with the default, and then I'm just going to have it imported. So just copy that and get onto the file where you want to use it, and then on top there just paste that line of code, and then now inside here we're just going to copy this, and we're going to have it inside there. That should fix everything. And now when we get back to our project, we should be in a position to see that icon appearing there. Alright, so the next thing that of course we need to have is the rest of the icons. So I'm just going to duplicate this because we need at least 4. So we have 1, 2, 3. We need one more. So just have that there, and so that should be the results. So we just now need to change the icons. So I'm just going to first of all import them, and then I'm going to have them in their respective areas. So the other one that I'm going to have here is the briefcase. So let me grab the one that we'll be using for the specific project. I think it's this one. So first things first is to have it imported, so have it on top there. Then we're going to work on the other one. So the other one should be analytics. So the other one should be analytics. So getting that right, yeah, there you go. And we are going to grab this one, so I'm going to have it imported. Sorry, oh, opened something there. Okay, so the last one that we're going to have is the scan. So scan, and for this scan we are going to go with which one? This one here. So grab that. Of course you can use any that you desire for that, and that's fine. So now the next thing that you need to do is to change. So we come and change that one to briefcase, and then we have this one changed to desktop analytics, and we're going to have the photo. So something like that looks weird, but I think it should change. Yeah, it's okay. It should not look like it is fading out. That means you have declared it but you have not called it down there. So everything is working fine, and so when we get here we should be in a position to see that being changed. So at this specific point now we can work on the hover. So we get back here, and we're going to select all the icons. We're going to select all the icons and add the hover effects. So I'm going to have it here. So that should be like that, and I'm going to talk about on hover. We should have a bolder left with the size of 4. Again on hover we should have the text changing to pink from white, and the border color so I have missed that. I lost that. Let me have it one more time. So hold Alt and select that, and here we are talking of the border being pink, and we are also going to have it with a py of 2. So that looks good to me. So that's the hovering effect that we have added, and so when we get back here we should be in a position to see something like that. So we have one more navbar link or sidebar link that we are missing. That is the setting that should be somewhere down here. So let's fix that. So just below this we are going to have that specific one. Let me first of all test it so that I'm sure that I'm having it the correct div. No. Let's see. Just here we have an issue. So I think still we should have it there, only that here this one should be justify. I think there was a typo there, or rather there was a typo. Yeah, so it should be something like that. So this should look like they're at the middle or something, and then this one is at the very bottom there. So we can now change that. So here we are going to have that specific icon. So let's import that. So real quick, here we look for settings, and we're going to go with this one. So I'm grabbing that, and I'm going as usual to have it on top here, and I'm grabbing that, and I want to come and have it inside here. And I also need to style this so it should have a similar should share the classes with the previous icon. So I'm just going to grab that just to save on time, and I'm going to have it there. So once we get back to it, we should see that. Oh, sorry, this one should not be settings, should be log out. So I think it's because of that text that I had written the settings, so this the one that has confused me a little bit. So this should be log out. So let's look for a beautiful one here. So I went with this one, so have it imported, come back, so that one should be replacing this one. So we grab that, and we should have that replacing the settings. So when we get back, you should see something like that, though looks small. Oh yeah, that's because the text 2XL is only being applied to this container. This one is only being applied to this, and now this one being outside, it's not inheriting the style that we have for that container. Yeah, so when we get back now, that should be fixed because we have been able to give it its own style. So when we hover that, then we see there's that hovering effect on all of them. So according to me, that's working fine. So nothing much should change at that breakpoint, because we're just having it being that small. Well, the sidebar is now complete, so we now move to the navbar. So head on back to Visual Studio Code here, and let me just get rid of the sidebar now that we're done with it, and we now focus on the navbar. And as usual, I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to style the container here. That's going to house everything. So these classes should be inherited by everything within this specific container. So we're just having it flex, items being aligned at the center within a full width, or within the full available width. So we're going to create another container here, and so as usual we start by styling it. So it should again take a width of full, but on MD we are changing this width to a custom width of 70%. So that's done. So inside here we are going to have yet another container. So again the items here should be flexing, and we are going to have them justify between this, because we want them to like stretch within the available space. So I'm going to say justify between, and then this should be aligned at the center, and that should be it. Sorry, we should also have it with a margin of 2, that is margin top and bottom, and with a px of 4. So now we're going to have our first text. So we have a container for it, and let's first of all style it a little bit. So for this, the font should be semi-bold, the text should be extra large within a padding of 2, or with a padding of 2, and so here we can have the name. So here it should be dashboard. So that should be the dashboard. Now we need to have the other component. This will be the search field. So again, I have a container. I style this container. So first it should flex. The gap should be 5. It should take a width of 70%, and we should also have the items justified evenly. So the space in between the items there should be even. These items should be at the center. So we're now going to have the input inside there. So input, sorry, should not have this one. And so here, of course, the type should be text. So text, and we should also add a few classes to it just to style it. So again, flexing items at the center. So here we want them to be justified at the center on both x and y axis. We're also going to make it to be rounded, and that should be full, and the padding should be 2. We also need to add some background color, so it should be transparent so we can be able to see through. So we are going to add a BG of transparent, and the text should be white. We don't want to see the outline once we click it, so we are going to talk about focus. Outline should be none, and we're also going to add a placeholder, and for the placeholder it should be such. Alright, so that should be it. If we check that out, you have the dashboard, you have the search, so they are a bit off. They should be in the same line, so it looks like there is something that we've messed up. Oh, flex. Yeah, so that should be it. It should be at the center there. Okay, so we see that it is not that clear. So we're only seeing the search there. Let's just change the background a little bit. So I'm just going to come back here, and I'm going to say that the BG should be, sorry, I'm going to change the BG to be mid dark, so that's the color. So we check that, we should be able to see it there. I don't know why the rounded full is not working. Alright, so we need to change a few things around here. So because the way it looks like right now, it's not looking that good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this input element, and I'm going to create one more container, and I'm going to style it this way. So it should be hidden on mobile. On MD we should be able to see it, so flex, and it should take a width, and it will be a custom width of 50, and we are also going to change the height to be outer. Then we're going to say that it should be rounded XL, and items, we're going to have them at the center. So justify center, and we are also going to now give it the BG of mid dark at the specific point. And now that input element that we copied, we are going to have it inside here. So let's see if that fixes. Yeah, that fixes the issue. But now looks a bit off because we have a very big space here, so we need to fix that. Let's first of all add a px of 2 here. So yeah, that's a bit okay, but still we are having this space here which we don't need. So let's see if we change the width of the input element. We change that to full, so width of full. Yeah, so that fixes the issue, and so now we don't have that space, and so now there you go with your search bar. So the next thing that we're going to work on is the image, so the profile image. So first of all, let me get the image. I'm getting this from the finished project. It should be inside assets. So let me grab these images and let me get to that specific project. Financial app is the name of the project. Source, assets, and here we can have our images, and we can just get rid of this because we are not using it. So now means that we can comfortably work on the image. So before we get to that, this specific search field, this specific size would only be visible at this specific breakpoint. But once we get to a mobile, remember we have it with a class of hidden, so it is hidden, but still we need to show something here. So we're going to use the search icon that should replace that whole input field here. So for that, I'm just going to come below this container, and I'm going to create one container, and we're going to have it styled this way. So it should flex. That means that we should be in a position to see it on mobile, but it should be hidden on medium screens, and the text should be 2XL. So we're going to have that specific icon because it will be an icon. So we get to React icons, and we can look for search. I picked special one here. Let me see. Yeah, this one. So I'm going to import it. So that should be on top here. Then we grab this, and we are going to have that appearing below here. So at this specific point we should not see it, but once we get to mobile we should be in a position to see it there. So now we can work on the image. So we should come to this specific container here. So let me hide this because this is the one that is housing the dashboard and the search. For them, they are in their own container. So that is the container that is housing what we have created so far, this and this. Now we need to have the other two here being on their own container. So for that, I'm going to create that specific container, and and so that things looks good, I'm going to have it styled. So it's going to flex within a width of 30%, and we should talk about justify between, so between, and the items moves to the center with a px of 4. So now we are going to have all these containers inherit all that. So div, and inside this container, it's where we are going to have our image. So first things first, we style it as usual, just positioning the items properly we would like. So justify center. This one is going to take a width of 10 and a height of 10. That's for the circle that is behind the image, and you're going to give it a background color of purple, and to make it a full circle we're going to talk about rounded full. And so now we can have our image. So for our image, we're going to talk about source is equals to, then we have some curly brackets, and we're going to have the name of the picture. We have not imported that yet, so we need to import that. So we come on top here, we say import, and we are importing pic 4, and this one should be from so let's get to that path. Should be under assets, then image, then pic 4 dot jpeg, if I'm not wrong. Maybe it's not jpeg. Let's confirm. Yeah, pic 4 dot jpeg, pic 4, pic 4. Okay. We should be seeing it there. Don't know why we are not, because we don't have an error. Pic 4, pic 4, pic 4. Let's style this, although I don't think it's going to fix that issue, but let's just have it fixed. So let me see, with we're going to reduce it with 1, so we have it being 9. Alright, looks like let's first of all get rid of the background. Yeah, so we are having the image, but for some reasons I think the type, the spelling is correct. It's making me to be a bit confused now, because wondering why we are not able to see it. And the path is correct. No. Oh, sorry, should be SLC. There you go. Alright, so that is fixed, so we can proceed on to the last thing in that navbar. So just below that, remember here we have the justify between, so we are going to have this being on the left, and this the container that we are creating here moving to the very end. So we have a class name, flex, giving it a gap of 4, and the text should be white, and just to reduce the opacity a little bit to make it a bit light, or rather to make it a bit dark, we are going to talk about 50/50. So we have this color instead of white. So everything now in here should inherit all those classes. So we are going to have those specific icons here. Let's style this. On hover, we are going to change the text to pink, and the text should be extra large. So I'm going to duplicate that twice because they share the same classes. And then the first one should be notification, so we have notification there, and this one should be mail. So starting with the notification, so we search for it here, notification, and we are looking for notification. Which one should it be? This one, notification 4. So we grab that, we have it imported first, and we're also going to have the email. So for the mail, let me just pick this one. Have it imported here, and I can now come and have it down here. So something like that. So let me grab this and paste it down here, with the aim of changing to mail outline. So something like that. So we push it, and so now if we get to the browser here, we are now able to see that. Let's see how it responds to different breakpoints. So on mobile, that's how it looks like. We push it, yeah. To me, it doesn't look that bad. Maybe this one can be worked, but looks nice for me. And so now that takes us to the final component, and that is the main component. So we get rid of the navbar that we're done with it, and then we get to the main. So again, as we are doing, we're going to get rid of the main, and we're going to start by styling the main container over here. So a class name, we are having this flexing in a column, and we are giving it a width of full. So now we are going to have all the content that we need inside this container. So again, we create another container. We start by styling our containers. So class name, it should again flex in a column, and on large screens this should flex in a row, and the margin should be 4. Then after that, we need to create several sections that we are going to require. So I'm going to have a section, and we're going to have at least 2, so I'm going to call this 1, and I'm going to call this 2. So this specific area here, we are dividing it into 2, so one section will go up to this point, and then we're going to have the last section there, so this 1 and 2. So so for the first section, let's work on the first section. So we style it first before we add anything to it. So for the width, it's going to take a width of full on mobile, but on large screens we should have the width changing to a custom width of 17%. Sorry. Alright, so now let's have some content within that specific section. So for the contents within this specific section, they will be represented in a grid. So for that, I'm going to have it with a class of grid. This means that on mobile, the items should be stacked one on top of each other in a column layout. And then we are going to break or change this on the medium breakpoint, where we should at least have 3 columns. And then for the padding top and bottom, we are going to give it 4, and then we are going to make it to be loaded extra large. For the BG, we are going to give it a gradient color. So I'm going to talk about BG gradient to bottom. So this is how the colors should be merged, because we're going to have at least 3 or 2 colors, 3 colors. So how they should be braided, it's from bottom, and so we are going to be changing how these colors will be braided. On a medium breakpoint, we're going to say that the BG should be again gradient, and this one should be 2, and it's going to go to the right. So therefore means that for the last color that we are going to have in the 3 colors that we are going to have here, on a mobile, it should be at the bottom. So it should be like the colors are stacked one on top of each other, like in a column somehow. But when it gets to a medium breakpoint, they are now running from left to right. So we're going to see that, so we'll be able to understand. So let's have the colors here. So for the first color, we're going to talk about from, and we're going to give it the mid dark. So mid dark, and for the middle color, we're going to talk about via, and again it's still going to take the mid dark, and we're going to have the last color that is now 2, and it should be pink. For this pink, we are going to play around with its saturation. So we are going to say /10, and that should give us this color. Alright, so we'll be seeing that in a minute. So let me have something here, so we can try and see if that worked. So you can be able to see that, like, we are coming from mid dark to pink. This on a medium breakpoint, but once we move to mobile, then this color now comes to the bottom instead of being on this specific end. Okay, so that's working fine, so we can get rid of the sample text there, and here we are going to create a container that's now going to house all the information that we need for the content there. So we style it so that before we have the items, we can inherit whatever styles that we're going to have here. So we're having it flex, centered with a gap of 4, taking a width of full, and we are having here the items justified to the center, or rather this should be between, but on MD that's when they should be at the center. So justify center. So we're going to have some text here, so I'm going to create a container to house that. So in here we're not going to have any classes, but for this specific one we will style it. So class name, and here for the text it should be extra small, or small rather, and the text should be white, or rather should be somehow gray. So we're going to say white and then /50. I'm going to duplicate that. So wait a minute, sorry, should be this. Yeah, so let's first of all finish with this one. So here we are having a total income, and inside here we should have the $450, and for the text here we are going to make it to be big, so this will be extra large, and it's also going to have the font being semi-bold, semi-bold. Yeah. So something like that looks good. Yeah, so something like that, but I think this one should not have, the text should be white for this. So we can either get rid of that, we're going to have white, or we can get rid of everything, because the default color for the text across the whole project is white, so we can get rid of it altogether. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to work on is the circular progress bar, and because we had already installed that, so we're just going to have it imported. So I'm going to get back to the documentation. That one should be the first one here, and you see after you install, when you go to usage, you're told to first of all import the component and the default styles. So the styles are the styles.css. So what I'm just going to do is to grab this, which is just importing the circular progress bar, importing it from React circular progress bar, and we're also importing the style for that, so the styles.css. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to have it within my app on top here, so something like that. And then now before I start having before I have the specific progress bar, I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to declare some values. Sorry, that one should be here. So here I'm going to talk about const, because I want to have first progress bar will be income, and I want to set the value for it. The other one will be expense, so expense, so that should be 5.8, and I'm going to talk about the last one being bonus, and that will be 20. Okay, so that should be fine. So we can now proceed on to have the progress bar. So get back here below this specific container here, so it should be outside of this, so I can hide this. So now these two should flex in a row, like you can see here. So below here I'm creating my progress bar. So how I should have that is this one should be style is equals to, and I'm going to have the object here. So in fact here I'm just determining the styles. So this should be a width of 80. I'm going to give it a width of 80 and a height of 80 as well, so that it's equal. And then now inside here we are going to have the component. So that is this one here. So just grab it and have it here. And then after that we're going to come and have the value. So value will be equal to, and remember we have the value on top here. This one should be income. So this should be our first value for this specific progress bar. So we're going to have that in curly brackets. So income, and we're going to also have the text again within curly brackets, and here we want to have 18%. So we're going to have it in this, I think we call them bracelets or something, those two. Then we're going to call the value here, this one here, the 78. So we are going to have the dollar sign there, again some other curly brackets, and income. So I'm able now to grab this income and the value here. So because I want it in percentage, I'm going to add the percentage symbol at the end there. Then after that I need to have the styles. So I'm going to talk about build styles. So this will help me to grab this specific style here. So build styles. So we're going to have some brackets, and within that brackets we're going to have some curly brackets, and here I'm going to have the colors. So for the text color, we are going to talk about color. So should be white. For the path color, that's like the border, we are going to talk about pink. A trail color, so this is going to show us if the circle is not complete, part of it will be pink, and what is remaining will be a gray. So that's what we are calling the trail color. So we'll see that in a minute. So gray. So that being the last one, we are not going to close that. So let's check and see what we got. Okay, looks like we ran into an issue there. Okay, so I think I've been able to realize where the issue is. We're having this build style, but we have not imported it yet here, so we need to have it imported. So I'm just going to come here and just put a comma, and then build styles from React circular progress bar, and just that should fix the issue. As you can see, we have that here. So this is the trail color, and this is the path color, so the pink and then the gray. So that's working fine. And so now that we have that already, we can just duplicate this so that we have several of them. So we'll grab this and have it duplicated 3 times. So oh sorry, we have duplicated the long. We should grab the whole container, sorry. So it should be this one. Let me see. Oh sorry, yeah, together with the text here. So it should be the whole of this from here. So the whole of this. So hide like that, and all of these that we have written here, we duplicate it 3 times. Oh yes, so that should be 3. There you go. So we now just need to change the values. So let's start with the last one here. So instead of this being total income, should be bonus, and other than the bonus, we are also going to change this. Instead of income, we're going to have bonus, so that will change the value inside, like that, 20. We can also change this, so this can be 150. So the total bonus is okay. So this one again, we change it to expense. Let me see so that we don't make a mistake. Expense. So we are going to, sorry, copy it, paste it, and we're also going to change this to 250, and that's it. So there you go. Grabs the 58 to 50, changes like that. I need to, let me see, need to fix a few things here. I need to add something here. So looks like there is a certain container we've missed, because I see this spacing. This looks a bit big. Let's see if we can be able to fix that. So let me grab this and create a container here, and I style this container, so like our class name, and then here I have the items flex, have them as at the center. So justify center. On MD, they should justify start with a height of 24 and MX of 4. This I think will help us when it comes to responsiveness. So let us fix that. It should be, so it should be something like that. Let's also hide this and also this, so that we can have that containers. So we're going to grab the whole of this and have it inside there. So when it does that, so this should be pushed like that. Then we are going to grab this class name, all these several class names rather. We should have it here. We're going to do a similar thing with this one. So get rid of it. Have all that information down there, and let's fix it to and here we can have this specific class, and you see now the height changes a little bit, and there is more room there. And let's see when we get to a different breakpoint. Yes, then we have them appearing like that. So this is because of this justify between. So this justify between is making them to stretch like this, so that we have one on the left and one on the right. But when it gets to big screen, it now gets back to justify center, so that now this and this are at the center, so something like that. So instead of being at the end of each other. Okay, so and so the next thing that we want to have is the line chart. And so here I am in the React Chart JS 2 .org in the component section. In the type of chart is line, so this should be the link. And so here we've been shown how we should be able to use this. And the first thing that we're told is that we should import the type of chart that we want, and that's what we are going to do exactly right now. So before we get to that, first of all, we are going to do that on the charts. So we go to the components, charts, and open the chart.jsx, and here we are going to have the snippet there, and here we can test things. So we get to the main, because that's where we're going to have the chart, and I just need to import it first. So just to ensure that the basics are working, so we are importing the chart, and we're having this coming from, I usually like using the this suggestion here, because it saves you a lot of time, and you're going to avoid typos and all that. So if you had created that successfully, the moment you type the word chart or the name of the component you're importing, it should be able to automatically auto-suggest, and it should be the first suggestion, and then you just hit tab on, or just click on it. So we have that imported. And so for the chart, we are going to have it somewhere below here, so we can maybe at least have a container for it. So let me just have it here, although we have to create some containers for it. So chart. So if we are able to see the chart, the name chart, that is the one that we have here, can even add that, then we are able to know that that has been imported successfully, and we have it, but we have it in the wrong place, but we are going to fix that. So at least we have it being visible. So that's all that we need there. So let's first of all work on this, and then we're going to come back and fix things around here, so that we have that component being ready. I can get rid of that. And as we have learned from this, is that we are supposed to import the type of chart that we want. So I'm just going to talk about import, and I'm going to have these curly brackets, and I'm going to say from. So this one we are told that they should be coming from React Chart 2. So I can be grabbing some of this just to avoid typing all that. And the reason as to why I have left this like that is because I can come and hold control and the space, and it's going to show me all the chart types. So in our case we need line, so we just pick that. So after that we are now told that we can have that component or that chart being called like this. So what we just need to do is to come to where we want that to be, and we just have this specific name appear there. Yeah, and after that all we just now to do is to have the props and the data and all that. So let's first of all analyze the props. So then after that we are going to have the props here, and the first thing that we're going to have here is data, and then the object, so inside here. So we are supposed to have these specific props. As you can see down here, the first prop is a data, and this is the data object that is passed to the chart.js chart. Then we have the options. These are the options that you can have, that is the element chart options, plugin chart options, dataset chart options, and all that. These are the options object that is passed to the chart.js. You have the plugins, you have the redraw, we have all of these. So you don't have to put all of these anyway. You can just have the basic ones, but if you want to have that advanced chart having a lot of those illustrations and everything, then you can have all these props. So we're just going to have a few props. So the first one will be the data set. So we're going to have the data set, and we're also going to have the labels. So let's try to do that right now. So going back here, and the first thing that I'm going to have here is the labels. So these are the ones that will sit below the line chart. So we're going to have them in square brackets, and if you don't understand it right now, once we preview it, you'll be able to understand what we mean by labels. So we're going to have the days of the week in quotes. So let me quickly have them here. And so we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's okay. So the next thing that we're now going to have is the data set. So this is now the information that will appear vertically. So it's like the values. Okay. So again, if you don't get that, we'll be able to preview it and you'll be able to understand. So here we are having the square brackets. And so when it comes to the data sets, one of the things that we're going to do is to have the label. So this will act like the key, like we are going to have the expenses and the income. So for the first one here, it will be expenses. So that will be the first label, and we need to have some data for that. So again, we have data, and this will be the data for expenses. So all these are the expenses that we have. So let's again have some dummy values here. They should be equal to the labels that we have here because they represent each and every day of the week. So something like that. Oh, sorry. so something like that. And now we can work on the background color, or the color. So let's try to have that here. So we can talk about background color, and so these are the colors that we are going to have. And I'm going to again duplicate this all this number of times. So just grab that, of course after the comma. I'm going to grab this, and 1 2 3 4 5 6, and I'm just going to change the values here so that we have a different color. So let me do that again real quick. And that should be it there. So that should be the background color. We also need to have the border color, so we're going to have that appearing at the bottom here. And I'm just going to grab this and have it here. So like they'll be showing almost the same, but now I'm going to change this to 1. So let me grab all of them like this, change that to 1. Then after that we are going to have the other label, so that is the income. So income, so then after that below here I'm going to have the label income, so label, and this will be income, and I'm going to have the data, so this will be the data for the income. They're just some dummy values, so you can put in yours. We need one more. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yeah, we need one more here. 58. Okay. So after that, we need to have the background color for this. and this is going to take the purple background color. So it therefore means that you can even be able to use names of colors, so you don't have to use the codes. So color, and this again should still be purple. Below here we want to come and determine the height of this specific line graph. So I'm going to talk about height, and I'm going to give it a height of 300. Okay, so then below that, if you can remember here, we are supposed to have let me get to that, supposed to have the options. So the options object that is passed to the chat.js chat, so we need to have the options, and that will come below here. Because we are done with the data, so just below the height here, I'm going to talk about options, and so this should be the object. So I'm going to talk about maintain aspect ratio. I think this has to do with, so this one we're going to give it to we're going to give it false, and here we're going to talk about scales, and here we're going to have the y axis, and here we're going to pass ticks, and we should say that it should be beginning at 0. So for that to happen, we should set that to true. And don't forget to have the commas here. And then down here we're going to have the rigid. So for the rigid the labels, we are going to determine the height. So we'll talk about font size, which should be 25. So if we check that, we are not able to see anything, because I think there is one more thing that we need to import here. We need to come and import chats chat as chat.js, and this should be from chat.js /out. and it should stay like that. When we come back here, that's being refreshed, and there you go. So we have the shirt, but it looks like we need to fix the container where it should appear. So let's get back to the main here, and first of all, just get rid of it, because now what we want to do is so just to make things easy for us, I'm going to close that specific component, so it is this one here, so that now we can concentrate on the other one. Again, this is going to appear in a grid, so first of all we are going to work on that specific grid. So we first of all have that here. So here we are saying that we are going to have this one being a grid. Here the calls should change to 4. The margin top should be 4, py of 4. 4s are getting too many here, and we should also have the loudness getting to extra large. Then after that, we're now going to have the container that's going to house the shirt for us. So I have that there. So we are going to style this. How we want this to do is we want it to like span or fill the space for 4 columns, so that it is one big container. So for that, we're going to use the call span, and we're going to make it span to 4 because that's the number of columns that we have on a medium breakpoint. The height should be 80, rounded LG, and to determine the height of this specific container, we are again going to talk about row, and it should span again 4 rows, so it should take the size of 4 rows, and then we're going to have the gradient color. So this will be similar to the previous component, so I'm going to try and get a bit fast here. So here this one is changing to light, and this one is from mid dark via again mid dark, and then to the last one should be pink 10. So that's one of it. If we preview that, we should see something like that. If we hide it now, it should appear like that. The color is at the bottom. So that is the container that we have created here, because we've talked about a grid taking 4 columns, so that makes it to span across the whole width that we have available. And then for this container, we want it to take the whole width being one container, so we use the span. Then before we have the shirt, we're also going to add some two more containers that will be below that. So below here I create another container, and this one will always be spanning 4 columns, but for these others on they should only span 4 columns on medium breakpoint. Well, for this it should so for this it should be 4 columns only when on a mobile. So for that, because Tailwind is mobile first, we're going to say that on mobile it should span to 4 columns, but on medium breakpoint the columns should change, and so we can talk about call span 2, because we're going to have 2 of these. So we can duplicate this, because at least we need 2 of this. But apart from that, we're also going to give it a height of 42. We're going to have it loaded LG, and we're going to again have it with this background. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to have it here. So we're going to have 2 of such, so I can duplicate that. So if we check they're not visible for some reasons. Let's try to put in something. And there you go. It's because they don't have any height. I don't know why, but I gave it a height of 42. Maybe for some reasons that's not working. Why should it? Yeah, the 42 is not working. Alright, no problem. We are going to see into that later. Okay, so now that we have that there, we can now have our shirt. So the shirt should be in this container. So so something like that. And so if we check it, we have the shirt appearing there. We need to fix a few things. Before we fix that, you see the labels, as I was telling you, they appear at the bottom here, and these the values. Remember we said that it should start at 0, so that's why it's starting at 0 to that specific value. You can remember the labels, they're there, then the data, and then here we said begin at 0. We said that should be true. So we also need this to be a bit smooth, because right now it looks a bit bumpy. So for us to be able to do that, we need to add something there, and that something is called tension. So I'm going to get here below the border color and put a comma there, and here I'm going to talk about border width property, and that should be 1, and for the tension we're going to give it 0.4. So if we check that, you now realize that the expenses, the line, we've given it a width of 1, so it's a bit thin as opposed to this one, and then this one is having that, so we need to have the same with the other label. So this the income, so for that we're going to add it here, and there you go. So we can be able to hide and show all these components as we would like. Yeah, so something like that. So there you have the chart. We need to fix the margin, so because it looks like it's too close to the margin. Let me say padding of 4. Yeah, so that fixes that. Let's say on mobile it's a bit off, but let's refresh, and there you go. So it is responding to all those given breakpoints. So the line chart to me looks good. You can be able to even add some background color to this, but for now let's just have it like that. Although you can be able to tweak it around using these props. Okay, so the chart is done, so we can now proceed on to the cards below that. Well, so let's work on this now. So first thing that we're going to have here is, of course, a container, and we're starting by styling our containers, and this one we are saying it should be in a column, and the padding right and left should be 3, and we add a gap of 1. Within that container, we create another one, and again the class for this is it should flex, the width should be full, and we should have them justified between py of 2, and the text we want it to be glare, so we say white /50, and we are going to make the text to be small. And so now we can have the text. So let's create a container for it. Oops. And let's not have any classes, so the text here should be investment. So investments, and the text here should be investment. So just below that, because we've said that they should flex and justify between, that means we are going to have one on the left and the other one on the right, so the text will be on the left. And so we also need to have the other item here, which will be basically an icon. So we're going to have that imported. So we go to React icons, and we search for trading. Okay. So we can grab which one? Yeah, let's go with that. So we are importing it. That one should be on top here. So we can come and have this here. Let me close some of this. Alright, and there you go. We have the investments and we have the icon. So now the next thing is we're going to have some text just below that. So we're going to go below the specific container, and here we are going to create another one, and here again these ones are going to flex within a height or within a width of full items centered, and then again we talk about justify between the py of 2. Then we're going to have some values, so again a container for them. For this container the text will be white, the size of the text will be 3XL, and the font will be bold, and we can have the text itself here. So this one 387 357, yeah, so something like that. And just below here we should have one more, which should be the percentage. So 51%. So there you go. I'm thinking of increasing the padding a little bit. Let me see, so we can make that card to be slightly bigger, because alternatively for this height, because I don't want to give it 48, it's quite big. 46 will not work, and so let me see, can give it a custom size. Let me say, just testing this out for the first time here. So let's see, it's so 150, yeah, 150 it's better. 150 looks good to me. But now we need to fix this so that we don't have this big space here. Well, just to try and utilize this space that we have here, we can in fact have the progress bar. Instead of the circular, we have the horizontal one. So let's have that, and we are going to have it just below here. So we create a container for it, and this is how we are going to style it. So first, for the py top, that is padding top and bottom, it's going to take 2, and inside here we are creating another container, and so this is class name, and we are going to give it a height of 2. So this is this aligned because you're sort of trying to draw a line, so we are saying that it should have a height of 2, and then for the width is going to take the full width of this specific card, and for the BG we're going to give it a gray, so like so, and we're also going to say that it should be loaded MD. Okay, so that should be the vessel, the container itself, and then we're now going to have the contents, like what will be inside that vessel. So we're going to again say that it's going to have a height of the same with the vessel, and for the BG it will be pink, and for the width is going to be 25%, and we are going to have it loaded MD. So basically by just doing that, you have yourself a very nice progress bar. So let's see that, and there you go. So this is the middle container and this is the outer container, and I think that looks nice, and because it looks nice we're going to duplicate it so that we have the same with this. So I'm going to grab it from here so we can hide that. Oops. Yeah, I had it correct, so I grab this and I'm going to replace this one. Yeah, just replace it, and then I will need to fix a few things here. Yeah, just to ensure that the work looks neat and well organized. Alright, so that looks nice, and just to make it look a bit real, we can try to change the values a little bit. So like for example, we can call this deposit, and we can change the values here to 545,700. Just check the values there a little bit, and that's what you got. Is it responsive? Yeah, some of what I usually don't like is I don't need to have this scrollable at this point. For some reasons I usually don't love it. So you're going to allow me to fix that. Just a minute. Okay, there you go. We try to reduce this. Oh yeah, that's better. So we don't have that scroll bar there at this specific breakpoint. So this screen size, at least we should have it like that, but when we expose it to a different screen, then we can have a scroll bar. So that's my feeling. You have it in your different way, so it's understandable. It's understandable rather. It's understandable. So that is done. Now we can move on to the next thing. So that is the right component here. So let's do that real quick. So we go to the section here, get rid of the two. We are going to start by styling this as usual. So it should take a width of full and or large. The width should change to 30%. Remember the previous one has 70%. So to make it 100%, we are giving this the remaining 30%. So inside that, we're going to start now creating the shared containers, or the main container here. So here items flex in a column within a margin or with a margin of 4. And now the shared containers, we are going to have them like this. So the first thing that we're going to create is the my cards, or the cards themselves. But before we create the cards, we're going to have the title for them, or the heading somehow. So let's style this container for the cards. So and the text should be MD. And so now here we're going to have the my cards, and below that we are going to have the ellipses. So that will be an icon. So we head on to the React icons. So we call it ellipse. We can grab which one, grab this, have it imported here real quick on top, and so we are grabbing that eclipse, and we're going to have that. It should be here. Just paste that, and checking that on the browser we have that. So now we can create the card itself here. So again, real quick, down here, so this should be here. So we are styling this first. So we just give it a margin of 6, and now we can start working on the cards. So we have like it's like 2 cards. We want to have that picture of like 2 cards, one on top of each other. So we're going to start with the card at the bottom, then we're going to have the card on top inside it. So let me just do it practically so you can be able to understand. So we are now creating the card that will be at the bottom. So okay, we are saying the width should be full. We're going to give it a BG of gradient. This one should be to R, so like should be going to the light, with a px of 2. Oh, sorry, let me first of all finish with the gradient color. So this should be 90. We're going to have at least 3 colors here. So I'm going to have the first color being purple, and then the third color being pink, and when it comes to the last color, we are still going to have it as purple. So here I say pink, and then to again purple. So that's it for that first card there. So we're now going to come and work on the card that will be on top, so it will be inside this. So here we are styling it, and so it should items here should flex in a column. We should have them justified at the center. The gap should be 4 with a width of full, and we're also going to have the gradient, so should be 2tr, and we are going to talk about from pink, and we are going to have a different shade of pink. So let me just show you here, because we want to make it somehow transparent so that we can be able to see the card behind it, so we're able to have that effect of one card on top of each other. So for that, this one we're going to have it with an opacity of 40, and then purple is going to take the same opacity. So purple takes an opacity of 50, let me just stick with 40. Yeah, so just like that. And we are going to, let's first of all view that before we rotate it. I was expecting, okay, we need to have some content inside so we can be able to view, because I think we have not given it the height or something. Yeah, so we have something like that. That's because we have not given them some height. So we're going to add some height and some padding. So I can talk over px of 2 and a height of 48. Yeah, so we have now something like that, and you can be able to see the one at the bottom. But now to visualize that even in a clear manner, then we are going to have this rotate 3. So it should put it at a certain angle, yeah, so something like that. And we are going to have them loaded MD. So here for the both of them, loaded MD. And so now, yeah, they look a little bit nice. And now you can be able to see, because of the opacity, we're able to sort of see through, so we can be able to see the card at the back. Yeah, so now we can have some data inside there. So we can get rid of this sample text, and now we're going to build some structure here for the text. So creating a div here, and let's just add a class of gap 4. We're going to come back to that when we'll be fixing something that is going to emerge because of a class that we have added there. So we're going to learn about that in a minute. So here I just want to have the text balance. I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to have the actual balance in dollars is 108, and just below this we are going to have another one, and so this one again we're going to have them flex justify between within a width of full, and then the items should be at the center and the margin top should be 7. Okay, so at the bottom here I'm going to create 2 containers. So let's have the 2. Let's style the first one. So here flex items center, and justify center and text XL, and we're going to have the text itself, so that should be inside here. So something like that, and then at the bottom here we're going to have an SVG. So let's look for that. It is the Mastercard Mastercard, and we are grabbing this, importing it first as usual on top here. I'll grab that Mastercard, and we are going to have it here, so something like that, and there you go. We are going to style this container a little bit so we can have the text being 3XL. So if we check the results, that's what we got, but now the text is going to deliver. Okay, it's rotating with the card, so we need to fix that. But before we fix it, let's style this, the balance here. So class name, and this one we are giving it 4XL font semi-bold. Yeah, so to be able to fix that, we are going to come to the main container here that is housing all that content, and we're going to do the opposite of what we did here. This is rotating, so we're going to rotate it the other way around, so that will make it to be horizontal. So we're going to say dash rotate 3, and just that we should have that Oh, sorry, that one should have been fixed, unless we are having a problem. Oh, sorry. Typo. Yeah, there you go. So that is fixed. The card, why is the card too close? I think the card is too close to the title here. So let me talk of this being MX, that is margin right and left. Okay, so now we need to fix the margin top and bottom, because now you can see it has gone up. So I can say MY, and maybe not to make it too big. Okay. Yeah, but that means okay, that looks good, but I also think, yeah, let's just have it that way. Let's see, when it comes to different breakpoints, so you can see only the middle section is scrollable, the whole of this. So we can try to reduce the size of the browser here, so we can be able to see how the changes are going to impact the layout. At that specific point, everything is working fine. For this line graph, we need to refresh, and you can see that is fixed, and we have something like that. Okay, so we can conclude that by having some few components below the card. It's in fact recent transactions. So I'm finding where the card starts, so we can be able to hide the card, and just below that we're going to have something similar to this. So it will be the recent transactions. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to have it down here. Let's test that. Nice. So we can just now change this one to recent transactions. So that's fine. So now we can have the recent transactions. So I'm creating a container here, which I'm giving a margin of 6, just like the previous one. Inside it, I'm creating another container, and for this container I am having some classes. So class name, and for this I just want to say that the text here should be white, in fact gray, and the text should be small, the text that I'm referring to is the text today. Nice. So below that, just below that, we are creating another container now with you here, and we are giving it the following classes. One, we want it to flex, the width should be full, we should talk about justify between, the items should be at the center, the margin should be at least 2, that is margin top, padding all loaded should be 2, we change the cursor to a pointer, and we should have this loaded MD. We also want to add some hovering effect on that, so we say hover, and here the BG will be changing to mid dark. So now we need to have the contents that should inherit all those classes. So here again, just with you, we are creating another container, and then as usual we are styling it because that's what we've been finding fit. And here we are saying the items should flex, located at the center, and we should have them with a space of 2. And within that, we're going to have our first SVG, and for this SVG it will be within a circular background. So for us to be able to have that circular background, we are creating a container so we can be able to style that, and we are saying it should flex so we can be able to organize everything how we want within that container. So it should take a width of 10, and to make it equal, the height will be the same. The text inside here should be glare, so we are giving it a white and /50 to make it glare. To reduce the saturation, here the text should be 3XL, the BG should be mid dark, and we are saying it should be loaded LG, and the items center. And to also have it at the center on both X and Y axis, we'll have justify and items center. So both of that will ensure that we have the items at the center on the X and the Y axis. So here we are having a logo or an icon. So let's get to the React icons. A good thing with React icons is you have almost all the icons. So be hands that you could be looking for. So I'm looking for logo Behance. I think it should be this one. So again, grabbing that, and going to have it here. Oof. This is when I should have it now. After importing, that's when I can have that. Just below that, we're going to have some text. So I'm always creating containers. This will allow me to always be able to style things the way I want, in terms of laying them out, in terms of the appearance, that is the color and all that. So like this one, we can say that the text should be white, text MD. we are going to duplicate that, so this change it to time. Here we are going to reduce the opacity of the text to gray, so by 50, and this one we are going to make it small. And because here we talked about justify between, so this will be one of the items that will appear on the left with all that information, and just below that we're going to have the item that will appear on the right side. So if we check that, you have something like that, and you can see the overlaying effect. And now all we can do is to duplicate that. So we can have at least many, let's just have 3, so we have 1 and then 2 and then 3, and then here we can I just change the values here. And we can also change this, so maybe here we can have a git. We can change the time. The icon, so let's import both of them. We got a GitHub, then we can have some yeah, and that's what we got there. When it comes to being responsive, yeah, so that looks nice. And so now the last thing that we can do is to add some animation, and we are going to use the framer motion. So we had already installed the framer motion, So for us to be able to use it, we are just going to import it. So I'm going to come here, also stuff here, and I say import, and we'll be importing motion from frame motion. So what we are importing is motion. So by just doing that, we can be able to import that, but just so that we can have some understanding of how that works, let's try to get to the documentation, just so that we can have a better understanding. So frame of motion, we just need to check the usage. Okay, looks like we don't have anything here. Documentation. Alright, looks like we're having some issues with that or something. Let's just try to use the official website here, and this is the frame of motion. We want to see some nice animations here. Very nice animations. And so we can say get started, and as you can see, what we are being told is that after importing what we've just done, then you just need to have the motion component. So the core of motion is the motion component. Think of it, think of it as a plain HTML or SVG element supercharged with animation capabilities. So by default, you're going to have your container. So it can be a div, it can be an SVG, it can be any HTML element, and you're just going to add the motion dot. So it will be motion dot the HTML element that you're going to have. So like for example here, they're having this specific circle here, and they are now targeting the specific div where they're adding the motion dot, and then they're adding the animation that they want. And so maybe if we play it here, is just changing the color, that opacity or something. Yeah, so what they're just doing in fact is below here. So we're having these other animations. So animating a motion component is as straightforward as setting values on the animate prop. So you do is you target your HTML element, you add the motion dot, and then you're going to add whatever prop that you want, whatever animation that you want. So in this case, they're saying animate, and the animation will be within curly brackets, like you can see here. So they are just saying that on the X, I think this is saying it should move, animate or X100. So when this value change, frame of motion when these values change, the frame of motion will automatically generate an animation to the latest value. This animation will feel great by default, but it can be configured with the flexible transition prop. So like you see, this one on the x-axis it is 100, but I don't think it is this one, because this one looks like it is just fading out, but we don't have the opacity here. Okay, so but let's just see here. You see, like with this, yeah, so this is what makes that even clear to understand. So here they are giving it to be 100, so it will be positioned at this specific position. But here they are adding some sliders that you can be able to use to change the value. So here they're having it at -106, so this moves it to the left. So like this specific component here, so we are assuming that we have now the styling, so that it looks like this. So at this specific point to be at the center because it's at 100, but now when we reduce that to a negative number, it's going to go to the left. When we make that to be a positive number, it goes to the right. And the same happens with y, where it's going to be top and bottom, so we can change that. So if you want it to be at the at this specific position, then this value here, you're going to change it to this, so it says -78. If you want it to be on the other side, then you're just going to have the value change to a positive number. If you want it to rotate, then again you can talk about rotate and use the value. So for the y, then this x should change to y. X should change to y. If you want to use the x, then you should just have the x. If it is rotate, then you change the x to rotate and use the value. So those are some of the ways that you can be able to use that, and you can get as creative as you would like. You see, we have all these. You can be able to customize it so that it looks the way you like. So you can just try to go through this documentation and test it on yourself. So as you can see here, the quick start, this is what we had already done before. So installing, so if you want to install the frame of motion, then you just run the npm install frame of motion, and then after that you need to import it. So this is what we have already done on top here. Yeah, and from there now you start using it. So you can, to get started, you can look at these examples and try them on your end and see how that is going to work for you. But for us, we're going to do something else, almost the same, but now we're going to apply our own customization. So the very first component that is going to receive the animation is this one here, the section. So I'm going to just have that class moving at the bottom there, so I can be able now to have my animation. So for the frame of motion to work on this specific section or container, I need to add the motion dot. So this should be on the opening and closing tags. So motion, so there you go. And then now here I'm going to determine how that the animation is going to happen. So I'm going to talk about variance here, which should be equal to the object inside here. I'm going to say that hidden, and I'm going to have this with an opacity of 0. So when hidden, we're going to have the opacity being 0. So that is one thing. 2, I'm going to have show, and here I'm going to have the opacity increase to 1, and so that we can have that smooth animation. I'm going to add a transition, so transition, and this is how that is going to happen. So we are going to add something we call the struggle children. So the struggle children in this case will kind of help me to have this happening one item at a time. So like for example, if we try to check if that is available, yeah, so we want this to the opacity to like increase from 0 to 1, okay, but we don't want that to happen to all of them at the same time, okay. So we want the first one, then the second one, then the third one. So to be able to achieve that, we're going to use what they are calling, or what they call stagger children, and that will be 0.25. Okay, and we can close that, and then now down here we're going to come and say initial. So how it's going to start is that first of all it will be hidden, then we're going to talk about animate, and animate now will be equal to show. So it's going to pick this the opacity that you've said, and for the hidden it's going to pick this. So when it is showing, it's going to transition to an opacity of 1 and struggle, that is 1 at a time. So now we need to apply that to the affected containers. So the affected containers now will be what we have in this grid here. So this one. So again, I'm going to have this coming at the bottom, and here we are now going to have the variance of variance, and we're just going to repeat the same thing. So hidden, and this one has an opacity of 0, and then we have show. Remember, we have declared them on top here. We are going to have that with an opacity of 1. And let's test that. That's happening, but it's only happening once. You can see that specific opacity, but that is because we have only applied to one of the containers. So we need to apply to all the containers, all the 3 containers, and what we are applying is this variance, which we have declared here. So I'm going to go to the other one. Which I'm hoping is this one. Yeah, so that's fair, but it's still doing the same thing. Yeah, well, you may ask why it's not still working. That's because we have forgotten one main thing that I have been mentioning here, the motion dot. So we need to add the same to the containers that are being affected. So that is what is making it not to work. So I'm going to add it to all of this. So the targeted containers should have that motion. So yeah, so we now have something like that. So the first one is appearing, then the others are appearing one after the other. So you can be able to have any sort of animation that you like. Just visit this website here and try to test various animations. And we can also apply the same to this. So I'm just going to go to that section. So that should be here. So first of all, I have the motion dot. So motion dot. Then I have that there. And so it's still like inheriting the animations for this. If I'm not wrong, let me refresh. No, we need to have the same repeated to this section. So here we need to have this section with motion. and you can have different animations, or you can repeat. So like for me, I'll just come and repeat this. So that should come below this section here. And there you have it. So that's a cool dashboard. I hope you like it. Leave your suggestions in the comment section below. If there is anything that you may want me to improve on these dashboards that I'm creating, there is something that you may like me to just work on and show you how it goes, I'll be more than glad to work on that. So if you have not subscribed to IT Skills Academy and you have watched the video up to this point, kindly consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell so that you'll always be notified every time I release a new video. So up until that time, thanks for watching the video and take care. Bye.